Okay, I'm Devin and I went to the University of Barcelona. It was really interesting living and being a student in Barcelona because it's really easy. The whole city is very well communicated with metro and public transportation and stuff like that. So I felt like pretty much anything that there was going on in the city, I had a pretty easy way of getting there, whether if it was to go to a concert or to a bar or to work a little bit. I mean, I taught English to two kids when I was there. It was just really nice having the public transportation. Also, just the huge number of bars in Barcelona is just great. Everything is very. It no longer becomes about like, where is a place to get a drink, but it's, what is the atmosphere like? Some places are a little more laid back than others. Some places are kind of more expensive, and other places are more like get down, like student type thing. And it was really great to kind of get to know all of the different little neighborhoods of the city, because every neighborhood has its own feel to it. So it was great to kind of get to know all the different parts of the city, even though I chose to live in the center because I thought that was the most exciting, but other people lived in other areas that have their own central market and their own neighborhood of bars and everything like that. So all of the variety of the city was really the best part of living there. So what was really interesting about Barcelona is that there's a huge population of international students. The program is called Erasmus. It's like their version of EAP, and basically it means that there is a lot of people from all around Europe and just basically around the world, also South America, because people who can speak Spanish come to live in Barcelona as well. So I met a lot of Italians, a lot of French people, I mean even Germans and just Swedish, anywhere you can think of really. And it's kind of funny because it was easier to meet, people that were coming from other places than it was to meet the locals. The locals aren't hard to meet, or I wouldn't say that they're closed off or anything like that. It's just I feel like that the people that come in new are all looking to make new friends, but the people that are living there maybe already have their friends. So I wouldn't say it's hard to make friends with the locals, but it requires a different sort of effort. And there's also the language barrier of Catalan, which everyone seems to think is really difficult, but when it comes down to it, everyone that speaks Catalan also speaks Spanish. So one difficult aspect of the Barcelona program is we all found our own apartments, and that was part of the plan. There's no dorm situation, and EAP doesn't really plan it out for you, so it's really good to kind of be prepared to go on to the housing websites. There's one called Loquo, for example, and just to know how to look for an apartment, how to call someone up on the phone and ask them, does the washing machine work, or how big does the room have a window, for example. These things are kind of there's lots of rooms that don't have windows, for example, which I found a little depressing. And I would also recommend against living with EAP people personally, because I felt like living with Spanish speakers for me was my key to actually learning Spanish. So as opposed to, you could live with people from the program, but I feel like that is going to cause you to speak more English and not really immerse yourself in the culture. My favorite experience when I was in Barcelona was the festivals of Merce, which is basically a week long of just concerts going around all throughout the city, and everything, just free concerts everywhere, out in the open, the plazas, just along the streets and stuff like that. And it wasn't really very organized, but I mean there was a program, and I could kind of choose the best concerts that I would want to go see, and there would be something maybe at the beach or maybe in like one of the more like popular places of the city, and there's just people all around. It was just basically the entire city was just in a huge party of concerts. And the best part of it was this thing called Corrifoc, which means running with fire in Catalan, and it's basically a giant parade of big floats that shoot fireworks all out, and people shoot fireworks out and then dance around the people that have the fireworks. And I had to wear sweatshirts and stuff to not get burned, but it was a totally wild experience, and I loved it. It was amazing. So one thing I wish I had done more before I went to Barcelona was practice my Spanish. I had taken Spanish in high school, maybe 3 years I think, and then I took a little bit of Spanish before I left to meet the language requirement. And so I felt really, really confident because in all of my classes I got good grades, and I did well. But when it comes down to it, writing it down on a test is so much different than speaking it at conversation speed. And beyond that, to understand a specific accent of someone can just be really difficult. So I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I wish that I had actually spent time actually speaking, because reading is one thing, like I said, and writing is another, but trying to have a conversation at a comfortable speed becomes really difficult. For example, when I went there and I tried to, go into a taxi and tell them where I wanted to go, it became, oh, this is, a little more difficult than I thought it was going to be. So that's one regret that I had, wish I had done.